Every day we hear about the garbage mountains piling up in India. What's really going on with our waste management system? Today we're here to decode the story of the Okhla Landfill, one of Delhi's three garbage mountains. At its peak, it rose to about 55 meters, 3 times the size it was supposed to be. Next to it stands a waste-to-energy plant, one that the residents around the Okhla landfill blame for all that's wrong with their water and their air. What's happening here is a cautionary tale for the rest of the country. Toxic water, air pollution and health risks.
इस एरिया में 15 साल से पानी के तो सबसे प्रॉब्लम है, शौचालय का प्रॉब्लम है। पानी आता है गंदा, मुंह में जैसे डालोगे आपको लगेगा उल्टी सा हो गया मेरे को।
दिक्कत जब प्रदूषण ज़्यादा होता है तो सांस लेने में दिक्कत होती है, और रात में काम चलता है तो रात में ज़्यादा प्रदूषण होता है। जब हवा साफ़ होती है तो दिक्कत नहीं होती है।
अभी तो जितना अगर साफ़ भी होता है तो आते रहता है, अगर कुछ कम भी हुआ है तो फिर भी अभी साल से ऊपर लगेगा, साल 2 साल लगेगा अभी पूरा साफ़ होने में।
We were there the other day and new waste was still coming in.
Yes.
So we're all wondering if this December deadline is a realistic deadline.
December, which sounds unrealistic because we still see a lot of fresh waste coming. So it's not just legacy waste. Ideally, in waste to management, waste to energy plants, we see a lot of biomining activity. Biomining should be restricted to legacy waste, should be done to dry waste because it's a multi-stage process. But in this particular case, we're seeing that legacy waste being treated by this waste to energy plant and also fresh waste that is brought in every day. There are dozens and dozens of trucks that still bring in, perhaps hundreds of tons, metric tons of garbage there every day.
Waste कितनी बार आता है?
150 बार आता होगा, कोई ठिकाना नहीं है कितने बार आता है। आते ही रहता है, मतलब हर 10-5 मिनट के बाद आते रहता है। ये पूरा जाता है एनटीपीसी में, यहाँ से उठ के एनटीपीसी जाता है। अब एनटीपीसी में ले जाके भराव कर रहा है कि क्या करेगा, मगर भराव ही कर रहा है वहाँ पर ले जाके। और कुछ यह है जो इस बिजली प्लांट में ले जा रहा है, तो बिजली तैयार करवा रहा है।
We're talking about a landfill that was commissioned in 1996. It actually peaked its age in that sense in 2010. Officially dumping of garbage at Okhla Landfill was actually stopped in 2018. Now, our traditional scientific understanding of waste management is incineration. That's what waste to energy plant that we're talking about. Because largely we try to ape what's been happening in Sweden or in Denmark. In terms of waste management, because they have very, very efficient waste to energy plants, and that's where we thought that we perhaps would replicate that model and create these waste to energy plants in New Delhi as well, or in India as well. We failed to understand that the waste profile of Europe is very, very different from the waste profile of New Delhi.
For the families here, the harm is already in the water, air and their bodies.
कितने गंदगी है, पीला है एकदम, जैसे लगेगा डीजल मिला हुआ है पानी में। ऐसे ही पानी बोर से आता है, पीता तो कोई नहीं है। खैर इसी से आदमी नहाता धोता है, पानी पुनी जाए, कपड़े लत्ते धोना, बर्तन धोना, सब इसी से करता है। अब मजबूरी है, कुल्ला भी करते हैं।
We need to understand two things. One is immediate and long term in terms of time axis, in terms of what this kind of a contamination, both heavy metal contamination and leachate contamination to underground water, and of course dioxin contamination to air, that it does in short term and in long term. And the other is the other axis, which is the geographical axis in terms of the immediate impact that it has to the immediate periphery where this waste is dumped.
चलिए बच्चियों की एलर्जी देखिए, छोटे नेक बच्चे 2 साल 2.5 साल 9 महीने के बच्चे और के एकदम दाना होकर खुजली होती, पानी आती रहती है।
अब बीमारी किसी खांसी आ रहा है, किसी जुकाम हो रहा है, सांस रुक जा रही है, तो गंदगी तो हो रहा है।
कूड़े की वजह से सबको दिक्कत है, छोटा बच्चे को होता है, प्रदूषण जो होता है ना, बदबूदार आता है, सब बीमार तकलीफ हो जाता है। लड़का तो इसमें कूड़ा वाला जो कूड़ा यहीं से जाके जो फिल्टर होके खाद बनता है, ये बनता है, हम लड़का उसी में करता है काम।
अच्छा, तो उसको कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है मैम?
उसको तो होता है प्रॉब्लम, क्या कभी ऐसे गैस से ना मुंह से ब्लड निकाल, गर्मी से बदबू से ब्लड आ जाता मुंह से।
Short-term respiratory problem that people were actually having because of breathing bad air or dust, because of high PM10 levels, because of biomining and truck movement and everything else, by contaminating that water because of leachate and other underground water contamination that you're doing, you're actually creating more cancer and skin and long-term diseases. But again, we do not really value life. And mostly, we don't value poor people's life. So if you look at people who get affected mostly because of this landfill or immediate impact of a badly operating landfill, the impact is on the poorest of the poor. And these are the people who are largely voiceless. They hardly have access to public health infrastructure or private health infrastructure. And therefore, it's very, very difficult for us to ascertain logically the impact that this has.
What does this city do to prevent it? Like, how do you not have a landfill again? How do you genuinely repurpose this waste or recycle this waste?
We need a total revamped scientific governance plan for waste management, where adequate proportionate budgetary allocation has to be at every stage. There are no more landfills, there are land hills. The three of them, the Ghazipur one, the Bhalaswa one, and the Okhla that we're talking about, and government plans to create more of these landfills. That's not a solution. Solution is not to really take it out from here and dump it in Ghaziabad or in Faridabad or in any other jurisdiction where no one would ask. So Delhi cleaner, but Ghaziabad dirtier, or perhaps a countryside being dirtier. That's not a solution. Segregation is key to this. This is how countries, like Sweden, have actually been able to do it, because there is actual segregation, multi-layer, multi-level segregation and multi-stage segregation that takes place. There are several case studies of Pune and other municipalities where neighborhoods together. So of course we need citizen accountability, citizen partnership. At the end of the day, waste starts its journey from your own individual dustbin, and therefore that segregation at home, and that segregation at home supported by the segregation by the waste collector. We are looking at a quick solution to a long-standing problem. We will have to look at a long-term solution. We cannot solve a problem that's been there historically for 30 years, 40 years in Delhi to solve it in 12, 13, 14 months. And the parameter or the denominator of success cannot be disappearance of garbage. Again and again, I'm saying that the government promised to us or promised to its electorate, and again and again stating that waste will this hill will disappear. That's not a solution scientifically speaking. Scientifically speaking, every gram of waste that is the legacy waste, that's lakhs and lakhs of metric tons that we're talking about, needs to be processed well, not just made to disappear into toxins and dioxins.
We will now have to wait and see whether the Delhi government is able to meet this December deadline. And the biggest question, will the people here finally be free of all that comes with living next to a landfill?